In the old days of computers, when you talked about mass storage devices, you really meant mass storage devices. This 40-inch hard disk drive held about 10 megabytes. On this week's Computer Chronicles, we'll be looking at the newest in mass storage devices. Please join us.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by a grant from AFIPS, the American Federation of Information Processing Societies. AFIPS, sponsors of OAC 86, the nation's leading conference on business technology. For conference information, call 800-OAC-1986. Exploring today's business solutions. Additional funding is provided by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte. Byte's detailed technical articles on new hardware, software, and languages cover the latest in microcomputer technology worldwide. Byte, the international standard.
Welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee, and this is Gary Kildall. Gary, we're talking about hard disk drives today, and what I have here are RAM cards. This is another way to get some mass storage. This is AST's 6-Pack Plus. You can get about 380K on this particular board. This is Intel's new Above board. You can get up to 2 megs storage on that board. It seems there are so many alternatives around to hard disk drives, it suggests that there are still problems with hard disk drives.
Well, I think the RAM card and the hard disk, those are two different phenomena. And the RAM card is really an attempt to expand out that limited amount of memory we have in a 16-bit machine. And I think they'll tend to go away as we go to 32-bit machines where the address space is really unconstrained. Now, hard disks, of course, we have the problems of the mechanical devices, it's bearings, head crashes, things of that sort. So we have to be very careful to make sure the data is backed up properly, can be restored when those crashes do occur, because you'll start to hear the bearings whirl and all sorts of problems with them. So the problems with mechanical devices are still there.
We're going to take a look at hard disk drives today, and we'll take a look at some of the alternatives, like the Bernoulli box, like tape streamers for backup. We'll begin by looking at an incredible new device that's a hard disk on a card, and it's called the Hard Card.
Once limited to mainframe monsters, the hard disk has become a desirable addition for PC owners. Early disk platters shrank to 12, 5 1/4, and now 3 1/2 inches in diameter, small enough to fit completely on a single PC board.
It's the first hard disk drive subsystem that's been designed to be installed and used by the end user. By that I mean, up until now, disk drives have been manufactured for the systems manufacturers, who then go through a technical installation to put that subsystem into their system. With Hard Card, anyone who uses a PC can install it in about 10 minutes, so it's very easy to install. Another major benefit is it's extremely reliable product, because we have designed both the electronics and the mechanical portion of the hard disk together. We were able to greatly reduce the parts count. As a result, we've been able to reduce the size of Hard Card to a single IBM expansion slot.
Sluggish sales of personal computers have led to business failures and pessimistic predictions. But vendors of add-on peripherals, like the Hard Card, see the slowdown as an opportunity.
Corporations in 1985 in particular are not buying PCs in the quantities in which they used to. And the reason is that they've bought millions of them in the last 3 years, and they've greatly broadened the use of those PCs among their employees. And today they're focusing on how do they improve the productivity of that investment that they've already made. And so in that respect, Hard Card is a natural.
Paradoxically, as computer parts become smaller, users have come to expect concurrently better performance and cheaper prices. But the trend toward smaller formats doesn't always exclude multiple standards.
I think there'll be multiple standards, as has been the history with Winchester disk drives. There are still many Winchester disk drives that have 14-inch media, have 8-inch media, and they constantly increase the performance and capacity of those disk drives. 5 1/4-inch in recent years has become 100 megabyte, 200 megabyte drives that have been announced, and some of them being shipped. 3 1/2 inch is the most recent form factor, the size of the disk. And I think capacities will over time increase on the 3 1/2 inch disk as well. Maybe the next question is, will there be a sub-3-inch disc? And I don't know the answer to that. If there are real benefits, then I can guarantee there will be some.
Joining us now in the studio are Joel Kammerman. Joel is the CEO of Kammerman Labs of Beaverton, Oregon, and next to Joel is Alan Ebright, the manager for systems development at Priam Corporation of San Jose. Gary?
Stuart, it seems like any serious PC user now has a hard disk, and unfortunately the technology has been improving, the price has been going down. So, Alan, could you tell us a little bit about the technology?
Well, the current technology in hard disks is that in the IBM PC XT, 10 megabyte hard disks are being shipped standard. In the IBM AT, the higher performance computer, 20 megabytes are standard, disks are standard, and 30 megabyte disks are available. Also, there are add-in disks, other disks that can be placed actually within the CPU of the IBM PC XT or AT.
Okay, now this particular disk, I guess, is a Cadillac of the line, sort of.
This is the higher end, higher performance, higher capacity disk. This is a 60 megabyte unit, formatted user data. We've taken the cover off of this unit, which has ruined the unit. These units are generally assembled in clean room facilities, and once you've taken the cover off, dust and dirt will get into the unit.
A warning to our
it.
viewers not to do what you're about to do.
We've done this so they won't have to.
Okay.
A disk is an electromechanical device that's composed of the actual disk platters themselves. There's 4 in this unit. These are the platters. They're mounted on a hub which is turned by a motor. Head assembly. This is the actual read-write head, which is moved on an arm across the surface of the disk to access the information on the disk. This arm is moved by a small motor, in this case, a rotary voice coil motor, which is here. In addition, there's a filter on this unit, this black element over here, which, as the disk is turning, it pumps air through the HDA, the head disk assembly, and filters the air to make sure that the thing maintains a clean environment.
Now, we hear about this idea of the air flowing through there and the head floating over a surface of the surface by the air that's pumped through there. How does that actually operate?
Well, it's a very critical part of the Winchester disk operation. What actually happens is that as the disks are turned, they pull air along with them in the cavity, and this air is forced in between the head and the disk surface, and it builds an air bearing such that the head to disk distance is very carefully, very closely
Okay, and that's what's known as the head crash, I guess, is when that control isn't there.
When that control isn't there.
Okay.
Alan, that's what everybody is concerned about with hard disks. We're told they're very delicate, fragile things, and you mustn't bang them and so on. How delicate is it?
Well, hard disks are delicate instruments from the standpoint that it's a precision electromechanical instrument, and they should be treated with care, but you would also treat your computer with care. I mean, you wouldn't drop your CRT, or you wouldn't care to drop your system unit. This disk and many other disks have shock mounts on it, which help to minimize the problem of shock to the unit. The unit's mounted here, and the shock mounts will absorb some of the impact of a
just a jar of some sort.
Jar of some
this
sort.
Is an internally mounted unit. Joel, you have I guess an add-on box now. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, this is a Masterflight 6060. Contained within it is our 230 megabyte hard disk subsystems, a 60 megabyte tape backup system. We also have built-in power direction to control access to all your peripherals, a lock and key to control access to your hard disks. We have a surge protector and a built-in filter to control unwanted spikes or noise to
you
your
just cable this
peripherals.
back in the back end of your PC and you're ready to go.
Everything plugs conveniently into the
Now,
backup unit.
this tape cartridge backup,